Okay, good morning. We are on Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. We were on Lamed Gimel Amud Beis yesterday. We were talking from Rabbi Shimon, and he originally made a comparison between Pikadon and the case of Shuas Ha'edus. So just like Pikadon is Tvias Mammon, Shuas Ha'edus is Tvias Mammon. Then we made a Kavachomer, and then we rejected the Kavachomer by saying that Pikadon is not Mushba Kanishba Mezi Kishogeg. By Pikadon, you're not Chayiv for Mezi. By Pikadon, we don't necessarily, well, we'll see, but at this point, we don't necessarily make Mipi Achirim as Mipi Atzmo. And then the Gemara says, at the end of the day, we have a Gzerat Shava, Techeta, and we can learn Pikadon and Edus through a Gzerat Shava. So it says the Gemara, Ma le Pikadon on the fifth line of Lamed Amud Aleph, Ma le Pikadon Shekein Lo Asaba Mushba Kanishba Mezi Kishogeg. Tomar be'edus shekin asabo mushba kanishba mezi kishogeg. So before we make the Gzerat Shava, the Gemara wants to reject the Kavachomer by saying you can't compare Pikadon to Shuas Ha'edus, because by Pikadon you're not chayiv for mezid, only for shogeg. By Pikadon you're not necessarily chayiv for mipi achirim, only for mipi atzmo, as opposed to Edus, where you're going to be chayiv for mipi achirim and mipi atzmo, and you're going to be chayiv for mezid, just like you're going to be chayiv for shogeg, even though, again, most of the time you're not going to be chayiv if everything's been mezid. Talmud lomar techeta. Therefore, you have the Gzerat Shava of techeta. L'Gzerat Shava, nemar kan techeta, v'nemar la'alan techeta. Ma la'alan eino medaber ela b'tvias mamon, afkan eino medaber ela b'tvias mamon. So it comes out that according to Rabbi Shimon, the way that you know that tvias mamon, that it only applies to tvias mamon by Shuas Ha'edus, and it doesn't apply to lying about other cases, is because of Gzerat Shava of techeta from the case of Pikadon, which applies only to monetary cases. Maskif la Rabba Bar Ula. So Rabba Bar Ula asked the following question: O bito yochichu shehein oin v'yeshi mayin shvua v'eni mayin kohen umedabim shelo b'tvias mamon. So again, Rabbi Shimon comes along, and Rabbi Shimon says that Lamaisa at the end of the day you have a Gzerat Shava between Pikadon and Edus. But if you remember, before that, we had Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. Rabbi Eliezer says you don't make a Gzerat Shava necessarily, or the same Gzerat Shava of techeta. What you do is you make a different Gzerat Shava of Oin, O to O. And then he says, well, how can you make O to O? Rotzeach, also you have the O's. Well, Rotzeach is different because Rotzeach, there's no Shua. The O's of Sota, there is a Shua there, but there's no Kohen there. The Gemara says, what about Shuas Bitoy? You should make a Gzerat Shava to Shuas Bito. O Bitoy Yochichu. Why? Shehein Oin. V'yeshi mahin Shua. Ve'eni mahin Kohen, umedabrim shelo b'tvias mamon. So why are you comparing Shuas Ha'edus to the case of Pikadon with the Owen, which is going to be Tvias Mamon only? Why don't you compare it to the case of Shuas Bitoy, which is when I go ahead and I take a shvua about something in the future or something in the past? Why don't I go ahead and do that? And that's not a case of Dafka Tvias Mamon. Says the Gemara, Mistabra mi Pikadon Havalei. So basically you have two possible Gzerat Shavas you can make right now. You could either make a Gzerat Shava from Shuas Ha'edus to Shuas HaPikadon. You can make a Gzerat Shava from Shuas Ha'edus to Shuas HaPikadon. Doctor, you just tell the women that if they want to come in and get their stuff, they can come in. They don't have to wait till the end of this year. So there's a woman out there, just leave the door open and they can come in. I understand. I want them to wait. So you can make a Gzerat Shava from Shuas HaPikadon to Shuas Ha'edus. You can make a Gzerat Shava from Bitoy to Shuas Ha'edus, and therefore at the end of the day, which one are we going to do? So the Gemara says, Mistabra mi Pikadon havalei lamelaf. Why? Shekain techeta. Adarabba mi Bitoy havalei lamelaf. Shekain chatas mechatas. Ella, we're going to do a count. Mistabra mi Pikadon havalei lamelaf. Shekain chet b'mezid tave v'kafre v'avrei. Adarabba mi Bitoy havalei lamelaf. Shekain chata sheyarda l'chomesh hanach nefishin. So the Gemara in the middle of Lamed Amud Aleph is going to say we have two possible comparisons. We could either compare Edus to Pikadon, in which case we'll be able to prove that by Edus it's only by a case of Mammon, or we could compare it to Bitoy, in which case we'll be able to say that it's not only by Mammon, but it's also by non-Mammon cases as well. So the Gemara says we choose to compare it to Pikadon and not to Bitoy, because there's more similarities between Shuas Ha'edus and Pikadon than there is between Shuas Ha'edus and Bitoy. What are those similarities? So let's see Rashi, if you go all the way up. 6 lines down. The comparisons that we have to Shvuas Edus to Pikadon is Shekain Chet b'mezid Tibai v'Kafrei Avrei Simanhu. It's right by the equivalent of the first line of the Gemara to the right. Shekain Chet Techeta Mitecheta Uvishnein Chayav ala Mezid Ava Bitoy Ksiv Bevenelam. So one comparison is that you have Techeta. Another comparison is that we know that both Shuas Pikadon and Shuas Eidus is going to be chayav from Mazid, but by Bitoy, you're not going to be chayav from Mazid. We're going to discuss that whole discussion today about being chayav from Mazid. Tibaya v'kafri, Eidus Pikazon, Bayin al Yidei Taino Kfira. Both by Pikadon and by Eidus, it has to do with somebody coming and saying, swear about my Pikadon, swear about this testimony. It's a taina, and then they're being kofar. I don't know any testimony. I don't have your pikadon. Masha ein came b'shuas biter, which is not the same by shuas biter, where there's no taina. The guy is just coming along and saying, I did X, Y, Z, or I'm going to do X, Y, Z, but there's nobody tining on him. Ve'avrei, edus upikadon, shteyan ashuos l'sha'avar, aval bito yikara lahaba. You could take a shuas bito l'sha'avar that I did something, but it's yikara to the asid that I will or I won't do something. Says that's the comparison between Shuas Bitoy and that's the comparison between Pikadon and Eidus. What's the comparison between Bitoy and Eidus? Chata shiar del chomesh shimenu Eidus Bitoy shneihen bechatas uva ola v'yored ve'ein behen chomesh. So they both a korban chatas. They're both an ola v'yored and they both don't have chomesh. Lafuke Pikadon shehu ba'asham, which is an asham. Uva korban kavua, it's not an ola v'yored. Umotzav al chomesh, and if you swear falsely by Pikadon, you have to add a fifth. So in the end of the day, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, seemingly versus 3. And therefore, if you have a choice, you're going to compare it to the 4 versus the 3. You're going to compare it to Shvuas Eidus to Pikadon and not to Shvuas Bitoy. And therefore, just like by Pikadon, it's talking about a case of Mammon, so too, this is talking about Shvuas Eidus is dafka by a case of Tvias Mammon. Rabbi Akiva Omer. Then we had another opinion. If you saw, Rabbi Akiva said, how do you know that's talking about Mammon? Because it says, Vayak yasham lachas me'ela. Yesh me'ela shehu chayav, v'yesh me'ela shehu pater. Ha-ketzad, which one are you chayav for? Tavu Mammon chayav. Tavu davar acher pater. So the Gemara says, which we implied yesterday, that the Gemara was going to ask, Epachana. If achas means you're only going to be chayav, Shuas Eidus only applies to one case. So why is it applying to a case of Mammon? Achas excludes a case. So why are you excluding non-mammon cases? Exclude mammon cases. And say that Shuas Eidus only applies when you ask Eidim to testify about non-monetary cases. Says Gemara, Rabbi Akiva, Owen to Rabbi Eliezer Samech. You're right. The end of the day, Rabbi Akiva, how does he know that it's mammon cases not from Le'achas Me'ela? He goes out and he learned it from Rabbi Eliezer from the Gzeirat Shava of Owen. If that's true, so then what's he excluding when he says Le'achas Me'ela? That means he agrees that it's mammon cases. So now that means that he's excluding a certain type of mammon case. My Beinai Rabbi Eliezer ben Rabbi Akiva. What mammon case is Rabbi Akiva going to exclude? The Rabbi Eliezer will say that the guys will still be chayiv. The Eidim who swear falsely will still be chayiv in that mammon case. Ike Beinayu mashbia ede karka. Rabbi Eliezer chayavin. Rabbi Akiva pturin. The difference will be by a case of ede karka, where again in a regular case of mammon, where I come and tell you to testify about a monetary case and you lie, you're going to be chayiv for the shvua. But over here, according to Rabbi Eliezer, you're also going to be chayav if you're an Eidei on karka. If they come to you and say, swear about the karka, according to Rabbi Eliezer, that's also a mammon case. According to Rabbi Akiva, la'achas mi'ela, it only applies to monetary cases to exclude cases where Eidei karka swear falsely. Again, they're doing something wrong, but they're not going to be chayav for the korban olav yored by this case of Shuas Eidus.
What about metaltalin? Anyone who holds it up on metaltalin or only on karka?
No, metaltalin is the given. Metaltalin, when we talk about tvias mammon, that's a given. The question is, do you also include karka? Any metaltalin is tvias mammon. Do you include karka as well? Rabbi Akiva says no. Rabbi Eliezer says yes. Rabbi Yochanan de Amar Hasam Mashbia Ede Karka Fila Rabbi Eliezer Beturin. According to Rabbi Yochanan, who says that even Rabbi Eliezer says that karka is not included in the Tvias Mammon because of the fact that it's not metaltalin. Then you'll say, well, okay, it's all cases of monetary cases, like we discussed yesterday, which we didn't answer. Is a knas considered to be a monetary case or not? So Rabbi Akiva will say it's not a monetary case, and therefore, if they swear falsely about that, they will not have to bring a korban. And Rabbi Eliezer says it is a monetary case, and therefore, Lamaisa, it will be the same as any other monetary case. Rabbi Yossi Aglili Omer. Now we go back to Rabbi Yossi Aglili. How did he know that Shuas Eidus is only by monetary cases? Because it says, O Yada, O Ra'ah. And only by monetary cases can you have a possibility of knowing without seeing or seeing without knowing. How do you have that? Rabbi Yosef Glili Omer, V'hu Eido Yera'ah Yada. Be'edus hamiskayemes b're'iyah below Yediah v'Yediah below Re'iyah kasa medaber. Amalei Rav Papa le'abaye le'me Rabbi Yosef Glili leslei de Rabbi Yacha. Tanya, why? Rabbi Acha Omer, Gamal ha'ocher bein ha'gamalim. If you have one gamal that's mating amongst other gamalim, v'nimsa gamal harog betzido b'yadua shezeh hargo. All you see them is mating, and then you go away to go to get a drink, and when you come back, there's a dead male on the side. So you didn't see this male kill the other male, but I think as the art scroll explains, circumstantial evidence seems to imply that this male killed another male. So what do? You know, b'yadua shezeh hargo. What does that imply? That implies that you will not. That means that implies that you can go ahead and take circumstantial evidence without knowing, even in a non-monetary case. Why is he only? Well, it's unclear. Rav Acha's case seems to be a case of monetary. But the question is, at the end of the day, if you hold that you go based on circumstantial evidence, you should go based on circumstantial evidence in non-monetary cases as well. What's an example of a non-monetary case with circumstantial evidence? Titania, Amr Bishimon ben Shetach, Ere ben Echama. I should see the consolation. Milo ra'isi. What happened? I saw Echad sharatz achar chaver lechorba. I saw one guy chasing another guy into a desolate place. V'ratzti acharav. And I ran after him. Umatzasi sayif biyado. I saw one guy holding a sword. Vidam mitaftev, and there was blood dripping down his hands. V'harug mefarfer, and there was a guy who was sitting there who was still twitching because he had just been killed. Amarti lo Rasha, mi hargu lezeh o ani oata. So I said to him, "You're a Rasha. Either you killed him or I killed him, and I know that I didn't kill him because I was behind you." But what am I going to do? I can't actually go ahead and prosecute you because God should get you. So what happened? So the Nachash came and ate him. But that seems to imply that according to Rabbi Shimon ben Shedach, even though legally, I guess we would say logistically, he was stopped from being able to try the guy, he felt that circumstantial evidence should be enough by Dinei Nefashos as well. So we want to suggest at this point that Rabbi Yossi Aglili, who says that circumstantial evidence is okay by Dinei Mamanos, where Yada velo Ra'a or Ra'a velo Yada, that's enough by circumstantial evidence, seems to imply specifically by circumstantial evidence will only work by Dinei Mamanos, but it will not work by Dinei Nefashos. Says the Gemara, Afilu tema isle de Rabbi Acha. No, one can argue that Rabbi Yossi Aglili would agree with that case as well. Bishlama yedia below re'iyah mishkachas la, ela re'iyah below yedia hechi mishkachasa. That means he'll agree that in the case of, there's two types of circumstantial evidence, really. Like we said, there's circumstantial evidence by monetary cases and there's circumstantial evidence by non-monetary cases. But even within those two cases, there's really two types. There's knowing without seeing, and seeing what happened without knowing what exactly is going on. Again, knowing without seeing, we said yesterday, you can come in and get your coats. Knowing without seeing, we said yesterday, is what? Is when they go ahead and they admit in front of the Eidim afterwards as to what happened. Therefore, you know that I owe him money because I admitted in front of you, but I didn't actually see. You didn't see the loan. And seeing without knowing is you see a transaction going on, but you don't know if it's a loan, you don't know if he's paying back a gift, etc. That's what we said yesterday. So says the Gemara, now we can have cases of monetary cases where both of those can be set up, where if you agree, just bring me Eidim that they saw us talking to each other, then we can say that you're going to be chayiv. Or just bring me Eidim that know that you admitted to them, then you're going to be chayiv. But how does that work in a non-monetary case? So the Gemara says, Yediyah below re'iyah mashkachasa. You could have knowledge without seeing. What's the example of that? The example that we just gave. You saw a guy walk into a chorba, you saw one guy come out alive, and one guy sit there dead, and one guy is still bleeding, and one guy has blood all over his hands. You have yediyah without re'iyah, that's okay by a non-monetary case. And he would agree to that, Rabbi Yosef Glili. Where would he argue, or where would he not feel comfortable, and where should nobody feel comfortable? Ela re'iyah below yediyah. Let's say you see one person killing another person, but you have no idea who the characters are. Why does that make a difference? Because it matters who the characters are. Because if the characters are not Jewish, if one of the guys is not Jewish, then you're not going to be chayav misa. If one of the guys is a treifa, and he's going to die in 5 minutes anyway, and you chop off his head, you didn't do the right thing, but if you kill the goses, you don't necessarily, and not necessarily chayav the same misa. Now, Allah Chamaisa, we know that a goses, you have to make sure that he doesn't die, and you can't kill somebody, another discussion. But the point is that it could be self-defense, it could be anything. Ela re'iyah below yediyah hechi meshkachasa, milo bai meida im oved kochavim harago Yisrael harag. If you're going to testify that I killed somebody else, you need to know if I killed a Jew or a non-Jew. Im adam treifa harago shalim harag. Therefore, I'm okay with the fact that you can have yediyah without re'iyah by non-monetary cases, but I'm not comfortable to say that you could have re'iyah without yediyah by non-monetary cases. And therefore, since in our pasuk it says, O ra'ah, O yada, it needs to be a case by shuas ha'edus where you could have re'iyah without yediyah and yediyah without re'iyah, and I'm only comfortable having yediyah without re'iyah in the case of non-monetary cases, but I'm not comfortable having re'iyah without yediyah in non-monetary cases. Therefore, by definition, our pasuk of O ra'ah, O yada is specifically talking about monetary cases, says Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Shma mina kisab Rabbi Yossi Aglili, mashpia ede kinasis pater. So we learn from here that Rabbi Yossi Aglili holds that mashpia ede kinasis pater. Why? Because if he held that it was chayiv, you have the same problem by ede kinas. Nihidi yediyah below re'iyah ashkechanla. I understand by ede kinas you could have a case of yediyah without re'iyah that the guy admitted, or you have circumstantial evidence to say that he's chayiv the knas. But how could you have a case of re'iyah below yediyah? What's an example of a knas case where you have somebody rape somebody else, or somebody's mefat to somebody else? So if you have re'iyah below yediyah, how can you go ahead and make them chayiv? Maybe at the end of the day, he raped a non-Jew. Maybe it was a non-besula. Maybe it was a be'ula. So Lamaisa, you have to know the characters involved. Says the Gemara, re'iyah below yediyah, milo bai meida nachris baal, bas Yisrael baal, besua baal, ba'ula baal. Therefore, just like I'm not comfortable setting up the case of re'iyah below yediyah by non-monetary cases, I'm not comfortable setting up re'iyah below yediyah in cases of knas, because I have to know exactly the details in order to know whether they're going to be chayiv or knas or not. Therefore, when it says o ra'ah, o yada, it excludes non-monetary cases, it excludes knas cases, it's dafka talking about regular monetary cases. That's what the Gemara here says. That would only be within, again, that would be within Rabbi Yossi Haglili. We don't know necessarily. We said yesterday that according to others, you don't necessarily have this whole Ora, O Yada. If you're not learning from there, it could be that Eidei Kanas would be included in this as well.
Good question. In this case, it should have been Shetach. What would it matter if Edom were actually there or not? If there was another Eid there, because there was no Hasra. He couldn't have killed him anyhow.
Yeah, but if you have two Eidim that somebody killed,
Still had Hasra.
You can't kill him, but if you have right, but you have two Eidim that somebody killed somebody else, you can still. What the punishment would be, I'm not exactly sure, but you would still punish them.
But it wouldn't be Misa.
It wouldn't necessarily be Misa, but it doesn't matter. The point is that he would get some type of punishment, as opposed to here where we can't do anything to him. Says the Gemara, Yosef Rav Hamnuna kamei Rav Yehuda, Yosef Rav Yehuda v'kami Baile. Going back to what we said yesterday, similar case. Manem binisicha b'fnei ploni uploni. I say to the doctor that I went ahead and I lent you money in front of ploni uploni, these two plonis over here. The Eidim roan osomi b'chutz. It's not me talking anymore. Now we have, usually you're ploni and ploni, but now they're ploni and ploni. The Eidim roan osomi b'chutz. Now the Gemara is telling us, logistically, the Metzias is that there are Eidim that are watching from outside. So what's the case? Amalei Rav Hamnuna v'hala matoid. The Gemara says, who cares that Eidim are watching? I'm tining that the doctor owes me money. And we're saying, and there were two Eidim that were watching, but they didn't necessarily see what's going on. Well, the Gemara says, well, what's the difference? Why does it make a difference? So, Amalei Rav Hamnuna v'hala matoid. It all matters as to what you're tining, what the doctor's tining. Why? Iyamar lo hayu dvar me'olam huchsa kafran. If you go ahead and you say, I don't know who you are, Rabbi, sorry we never met before, and there are two Eidim who saw us have some type of interaction, even though they didn't see or hear the details, at the end of the day, once you deny knowing me, you're clearly a liar, and therefore when you say that you don't owe me the money, we're going to assume that you're lying as well, and therefore you're going to have to pay me the money. Amar in shikli v'didi shikli, but einachanami, if you say you're right, I did take the money from you, but at the end of the day, I wasn't borrowing the money. You were paying me back for something that you had already borrowed from me, or you were giving me a gift. Kiyasu Eidim Havu. So then what's the difference if there are Eidim or not? Says the Gemara, Amrulay Hamnuna, they said to him, Hamnuna at Olta. You can go into the base medrash, you're right. So the Gemara interestingly says that when you have two Eidim who don't know what's going on, or Re'iyah below Yediyah, it doesn't really matter. It's okay, because again, Mamanashach, it depends on what you say. If you say that I don't know you forever, I never met you before, then the two Eidim can basically make you into a liar, and then I'm going to get my money. If you claim that, yes, you got your money, so the smart bet for you would always be to say, yes, I got it, but it was mine. Says the Gemara, now the Gemara wants to compare this to another case, which they're going to reject and say it's not exactly the same. So I say, doctor, you borrowed money from me at the side of this pole. And you said, I never seen this pole. I've never been to this pole. I didn't pass this pole. Asu tre sade, so two witnesses come, Ploni and Ploni. Sade ashidu be dehishtin mayim b'tzad hamazeh. So they come and they say, well, that's not true. We saw you go to the bathroom on this pole. Amar Reish Lakish, Huchsa Kafran, you're a liar. You said you were never at the poll. We clearly saw that you had gone to the bathroom at the poll. Clearly you're a liar, even though they're not testifying about this specific case. You're a liar. Therefore, you owe me the money. Maskala Rav Nachman says, ridiculous. Haidina Parsahu. That's a Persian din. It's crazy. Mika Amar Me'olam. He never said, I've never been to this thing before. What he meant is, I didn't go to this poll. We didn't have a transaction in front of this poll. I never said I didn't go to the bathroom in front of this poll. Therefore, it's ridiculous to say that he's a liar, and therefore, Lamaisa, he will not have to pay. Ikadamre, others say, Hahu Damre Lechabre, say to the doctor, Mana Manisi Lechabet Tzadamazeh, Amale Lo Avarti Betzadamazeh Me'olam. Now you say, I've never been there in my life. So now the Gemara says, so now you don't have that taina. Now when the Eidim come and said you went to the bathroom there, you're clearly lying. Nafku beisadi d'ishnemayim b'tzalamazeh. Amar of Nachman, Huchsa Kafran. Amar lei, Ravel of Nachman. No, according to the Kedamah, even in that case, you're not going to be held liable. Why? Because you always pull over to the side of the road to go to the bathroom. How are you supposed to remember every place you went to the bathroom? Kol milsa de l'ram yelad inish, avid lei v'lavadaite. You don't remember every single poll that you went to the bathroom on. Therefore, even though you said me'olam, we don't hold you as being a liar. It's a detail that's not so important that you would remember. And therefore, the end of the day. So again, it comes out that these two cases, or this case of going to the bathroom on the side, would be different than the case where you say that I never met you before. I never met you before, that's a clear lie, and therefore, at the end of the day, you're going to be chayiv to pay me. But if you say, I didn't go to this poll, or I've never been to this poll, and then we have Aiden that said, oh, no, you went to the bathroom at this poll, at the end of the day, we're still not going to assume you're a liar, because either, again, you never said, I've never been to this poll, or we not expect you to remember every single place that you went to the bathroom on the side of the road. Zok the Gemara. Reb Shimon Omer Chayav Kan V'Chayav B'Pikadon.
To lie in a situation, we can never be used as an aid.
So it sounds like.
One lie.
Sounds like it. Again, maybe you could do tshuva, but the point is that if we know that you're Hochsa Kafran, if we know that you're a liar, then we can't take your testimony. Reb Shimon Omer Chayav Kan V'Chayav B'Pikadon. Reb Shimon says you're Chayav here and you're Chayav B'Pikadon. Again, we went and Rabbi Shimon made the comparison between Pikadon and Shuas Eidos. Then it went ahead and said we have a Kal V'Chomer. Then it rejected the Kal V'Chomer and said Mali Pikadon Shkin Lo Asa Ba Mushba Kenishba Mezi Kishogeg. Then we said you're right, we reject the Kal V'Chomer, but we have Gzeirat Shava of Techeta. That's how we started today. So now the Gemara is going to go through this. Machku Allah b'Marava. They mocked him in the Marava. Maichuka, what was the mock? Diktani, because he said we can't make the Kavachomer because Malip Pikadon Shelakin Loasubo Mushba Kinishba Mezid Kishogeg. He said we can't compare Shuas Eidos to Pikadon because the dinim are different. Michte, I don't understand. How can you not compare them? Mushba mi piatzmo be'edus Rabbi Shimon minale. If you remember a few days ago, last week, what did we say? We said that the pasuk by Shuas Eidos only talks about mi piacherim. Right? What was the pasuk by Shuas Eidos? V'shama kol Allah. That was mi piacherim. The pasuk by Shuas Pikadon only talks about mi piatzmo. How did we know one to the other? How do we know that mi piatzmo applies here and mi piacherim applies here? From comparing the two cases. How can you say you can't compare the two cases when the basic ideas of the two cases are basically compared? Says the Gemara, Michte mushma bi piatzmo beidus orishima minale degamar mi pikadon. Pikadon nami mushma piacherim nigmar meidus umay chuka. So what's the chuf? So the Gemara says that's the mockery. The mockery is that you're telling me that you can't compare the two because one is mushma v'nishba, one is mezid and shogeg. What are you talking about? You can't compare the two. We're learning the basic dinim from one to the other. We're learning mi piacherim to here, to Pikadon, and we're learning mi piatzmo to here, to Eidos. So umay chuka. The Gemara says no, it's not a mockery. Why? Dilma Rabbi Shimon b'kava chomer ma'isila mi piacherim chay mi piatzmo lo kol shekain. It's only a chukah if you start telling me that I'm learning from Pikadon to Eidos and from Eidos to Pikadon, and then you're telling me you can't compare the two of them. But maybe, Rabbi Shimon, you can close the door. If they come, we'll... Please, thank you. Rabbi Shimon, at the end of the day, maybe he holds like the other mandamer that we said. We said there's two ways to learn mi piatzmo by Shuas Ha'edus. Either you can learn mi piatzmo from Pikadon, which the Gemara has a problem with according to this, because how can you learn it from Pikadon and say that you can't compare the two things? Or you can learn it mi neubei from itself. We said, if by Shuas Ha'edus you're going to be chayav mi piacherim, kavachomer, you're going to be chayav mi piatzmo. If I'm going to be chayav when somebody else preempts me and prompts me to make a shua, for sure when I take it myself. So if you learn Eidos by itself, from itself, then I can say, well, you can't really compare it to Pikadon, and it's not a problem if I'm not learning anything from Pikadon. Says the Gemara, this is all before they make the Gzeirat Shava. Elachocha amazed kishogeg. What's the mockery that they made? The mezid kishogeg. Why? Diktani, because he said Mali bikadon shekin lo asabo mushbek kanishma mezid kishogeg michti mezid gabe edus minale deloksiv bevenelam hachanami loksiv bevenelam. I don't understand. You're telling me that you can't compare the two, but the whole way that you know that by Shuas Ha'edus, we said that the Chiddush by Shuas Ha'edus is that you're going to be chayiv even if you're mazid through and through. Usually when you know exactly what you're doing the entire time, we don't give you the ability to have a kapara when it's mazid through and through. But we said the way you know that mazid through and through is going to work by Shuas Ha'edus is because it doesn't say Vanelam, just like by Bikadon it doesn't say Vanelam. Says the Gemara, that's the problem. How can you say you're not comparing the two, and then you're saying at the end of the day, the way that we know that Mazid is going to be Chayiv over here is because it doesn't say Vanelam, just like by Pikadon it doesn't say Vanelam. Says the Gemara, Amalu Rafuno, my Chuka. That's not a good mockery either. Dilma Mazid Lav Kishogeg be Pikadon mi Me'ila. Rabbi Shimon Gamar La. V'hainu Chuka. Adigamar La mi Me'ila, Nigmar La Me'edus. Says the Gemara, here's basically what's happening, and I'll explain to you outside, and then we'll go through it. We have Pikadon in the middle. Pikadon is in the middle. You have Me'ila over here, and you have Shuas Ha'edus over here. Me'ila is a case where you're Moel, where you take Hekdesh and you're Moel in the Hekdesh. So at the end of the day, the question is, what do we learn to what? The bottom line is that by Pikadon, the halacha is that you're Chayav, just like every other Shua, you're Chayav only if you take the Shua B'Shogeg and not B'Mezid. The case of Shuas Ha'edus, you're Chayav even B'Mezid. And the case of Me'ila is like Pikadon, you're Chayav from Shogeg and not from Mezid. So now Pikadon's in the middle. The poor Pikadon's in the middle. The question is, where do we learn Pikadon from? If we learn from Edus, then by Pikadon you'll be Chayiv from Mezid as well. If you learn from Me'ila, then by Pikadon you will not be Chayiv from Mezid, only for Shogeg. The Gemara is at this point suggesting you're learning from Me'ila. We learn Pikadon from Me'ila, and we're going to show the comparison in a minute. Just like by Me'ila, if you take a false swear that you weren't Moel, that you didn't use Hekdesh, just like in that case you're only Chayiv by Shogeg, so too over here, you're only going to be Chayiv by Shogeg by Pikadon. And the Choka, the mockery that they had to him, is why are you learning from Me'ila to Pikadon? Why are you not learning from Edus to Pikadon? It doesn't say Vanelam over here, which means that by Mezid you're going to be Chayiv as well. You should learn to Pikadon as well. So the mockery is why are you learning from Me'ila to Pikadon and not from Edus to Pikadon? And the Gemara is going to say it's not a mockery because he told him, he's going to explain exactly why he learned one. Says the Gemara, V'hainu chuka agdagamar la mi Me'ila nigmar la me'edus mistabra mi Me'ila havalei la me'elaf shekain Me'ila mi Me'ila. That means the reason that we learn in the middle Pikadon from Me'ila is because it says Ma'al by Pikadon and it says Ma'al by Me'ila. Adarabba me'edus havalei la me'elaf shekain techeta techeta. You can make Gzeirat Shava from Pikadon to Edus from techeta techeta. So now it's 1 versus 1. You can make a Gzeirat Shava from Pikadon both to Me'ila and to Edus. So how are you going to learn? We want to figure out how do you learn that by Pikadon you're only going to be Chayav for Shogeg and not from Mezid. Why are we learning from Me'ila and why are we not learning from Edus? So it's 1 versus 1. You have a Gzeirat Shava to both. So what else are you going to do? Mistabra mi Me'ila havalei la me'elaf. Why? Shekain Me'ila bechol hana'a bekavua chomesh ve'asham. That's 4 things, and we'll get to them in a second. Adra me'ebus havalei la me'elaf shekain chet hedios bishvua tavi v'kafrei ve'oin hanach nefishin. He says at the end of the day the Me'ila has more. Why? Let's see the Gemara. Look at Rashi on top. Shekain Me'ila. It's like 10 lines down in the Gemara to the left. Shekain Me'ila b'chol nene b'kavua chomesh asham. B'shneim nemar Me'ila. Again, we're comparing Pikadon to Me'ila. Ushneim noagin b'kol. And both of them are noeg b'kol. Aval Edus eno noeg ela beruyin lahayid. We said Shuas Edus is only by beruyin lahayid, as opposed to Pikadon and Me'ila. Ushneim nehenu ba'avera shabiyadam. The case of Pikadon, he got hana from the Pikadon that he's lying about. Case of Me'ila, he's getting hana from the Hekdesh that he's lying about. Zen and Hekdesh v'zeh kafar mamon lafuke Edus lo nena. This aid that's denying knowing testimony, he's not getting any hana from anything that he's denying, except for the pleasure. Ushneim bekorban kavua. Both of them are a korban kavua. The Edus is ba'ola v'yored. Ushneim b'chomesh. Both of them have a chomesh. Ve'asham, and both of them have an asham. The Edus b'chatas ve'ein sham chomesh. So there's 6 comparisons between Me'ila and Pikadon. Again, b'kol, nene, b'kavua, chomesh, asham, and again, Me'ila, b'kol, Nana, Kavua, Chomesh, and Asham. Okay. 6, right, 6 things. As opposed to Pikadon from Eidos, or Pikadon to Eidos is only 5 things. Why? Shekain, Chet, Hedyot, Beshua, Tiboy, V'Kafrei, V'Ayin. And the Gemara is going to tell you that Tiboy, V'Kafrei are really one thing. B'Shneim Namar Techeta, that's 1. V'Dino Ima Hedyot. It's a Hedyot of Al-Me'ila is Dino Ima Hekdesh. It means both Pikadon and Eidos say Techeta. Both of them are dealing with Pashat stuff, a regular Pikadon, a regular testimony, as opposed to Me'ila, which is Hekdesh. Ushneim B'Shvua. Both of them are a Shvua, Ve'al Yidei. Both of them have a Shvua involved, as opposed to Me'ila, which again doesn't have a Shvua necessarily. Ve'al Yidei Tvio Kfira Hein Bayin. That both of them by the Pikadon is somebody saying you have my Pikadon. But Shuas Eidos is saying you have testimony, as opposed to Me'ila where there's no testimony going on, or nobody's being Tovea you. Hein Bayin. Uveshneim Namar Owen Masha'en came b'Me'ila. Hanach Nefishin de Tvia V'Kafrei Chadehi. So it's 6 verses 5, and therefore I'm going to learn Pikadon from Me'ila, and therefore at the end of the day, by Pikadon, you are not going to be Chayav for Mezid, only for taking the Shua B'Shogeg. Says the Gemara, if that's true, Elamai Chuka, then what's the mockery? Kiyasa Rav Papa, Rafuna, Breda, Rav Yeshua, Mibei Rav, Amri, Hainu Chuka. Here's the mockery. Michtei, Rabbi Shimon Gezerat Shava Gamir. Lamale de Parech Male Pikadon Shakin Loasa Bo Mushba Kinishba Meze Kishogeg. The only Chuka is that how can he say you can't compare the two of them if you have a Gezerat Shava? He's saying you have a Gezerat Shava and you can't compare the two of them. What's the answer? The answer is that he said you can't compare them based on the Kal V'Chomer before you made the Gezerat Shava. Umay Chuka, Dilma Ki Parach Mikame to take Le Gezerat Shava, Basar de Kama Le Gezerat Shava Lo Parach. The Gemara says not a problem. They thought it was a mockery that he's saying you can't compare the two of them. You have a Gezerat Shava. Yeah, he said before the Gezerat Shava you can't compare the two of them. After you have the Gezerat Shava, you can compare the two of them. Says the Gemara, the last thing is now that you've established that there's a Gezerat Shava, so one would think what? One would think that now you have a Gezerat Shava, the same dinim would apply to Pikadon and to Eidos. Says the Gemara, V'lo v'amarlu Rava bar Isi lo Rabbanan man tama shuas habikadon lo nitan zedona lekapara Rabbi Shimon he Dilma mezik keshogeg pareg de gomer la mimila dan lefishin ava mushba v'nishba lo parech. Says the Gemara, I understand. You have a Gezerat Shava now, but now at the end of the day, if you have a Gezerat Shava, why are you telling me that shuas habikadon is lo niton zedona lekapara? Why by a pikadon is Mezid not going to be able to bring a korban if you have a Gezerat Shava? Says the Gemara, the obvious answer we were just saying because you have Me'ila. It means, again, you have two aspects by Pikadon. You want to know, by Pikadon, are you going to treat Mezid Kishogeg? And are you going to go ahead and treat Mipi Atzmo like Mipi Acherim? So the Gemara says, well, you have a Gezerat Shava. Well, if you have a Gezerat Shava, so then you should do whatever you do by Eidos. By Eidos, you treat Mezid Kishogeg, and you treat Mipi Acherim like Mipi Atzmo. So why in Mitzias, at the end of the day, after the Gezerat Shava, does Rabbi Shimon say that by the case of Pikadon, you're not treating Mezid Kishogeg? Because he's right, you have a Gezerat Shava here to Eidos, but you also have a Gezerat Shava to Me'ila. So what comes out at the end of the day is that you have two Gezerat Shavas by Pikadon. You have a Gezerat Shava which compares it to Me'ila and a Gezerat Shava that compares it to Eidos. You're going to use a Gezerat Shava to Eidos to tell me that just like by Eidos, the what? Just like by Eidos, the Mushba is going to be like the Nishba. That just like by Eidos, by Pikadon too, Mipi Acherim and Mipi Atzmo will be on the same plane. And at the same token, you're going to use the comparison to Me'ila and not to Eidos to teach me that by Pikadon you're going to be Chayav only in the case of Shogeg and not in the case of Mezid. So again, Pikadon, which is in the middle, you're going to make one limud, one learning to Eidos, or from Eidos, and one learning from Me'ila. The one from Me'ila is going to teach me that by Pikadon you're only Chayav by Shogeg and not by Mezid, or you only get a kapara by Shogeg and not by Mezid. And the learning to limud is the limud to Eidos is going to teach us that at the end of the day you're going to be Chayav not only Mipi Atzmo but Mipi Acherim as well. You're going to be Chayav for both of those. That's how the Gemara ends up. Says the Gemara finally, he's going to ask one more question. He's saying once you're making this Gezerat Shava, so now the question becomes, if you're making the Gezerat Shava from Me'ila to Pikadon, to tell me that by Pikadon you're not going to be Chayav for Shogeg, you're not going to be Chayav for Mezid, only for Shogeg, so now that you have a Gezerat Shava to Eidos, which you're learning from Eidos to Pikadon, that you're going to be Chayav Mipi Acherim or Mipi Atzmo, why don't we extend the law of Me'ila to Pikadon and then to Eidos? That means, why are we saying at the end of the day that you're going to be Chayav for Mezid by Eidos? Why don't we learn from Me'ila to Pikadon, and then from Pikadon to Eidos to say that by Shuas Eidos you will not be Chayav for Mezid, just like you're not Chayav by Me'ila. Says the Gemara, V'tihadar Eidos v'tigamar la mi Pikadon, Mezid delav kishogeg ma Pikadon shogeg in Mezid lo af Eidos shogeg in Mezid lo, ki hechi di yalef Pikadon mi Me'ila. Says the Gemara, Lahachi Kasu Rachmana Le'edus Gabe Shuas Bitoy Vegabe Tumas Mikdash V'Kachav. The Torah went out of its way to write the din of Shuas Eidus next to Bitoy, next to Tumas Mikdash V'Kachav. Why? Dibekula Nemar Behen V'Nelam. It Dafka wrote V'Nelam to tell you it's Dafka by Shogeg. The word V'Nelam is the key word for Shogeg. V'Kan Lo Nemar Behen V'Nelam L'Chayev Al Amezek K'Shogeg. So again, what comes out is you have Pikadon in the middle. You have Me'ila on the right and Eidus on the left. You have a choice now by Pikadon. You're going to learn from both of these things. So from Eidus, you're going to learn that just like by Eidus, it applies Mipi Atzmo and Mipi Acherim. By Shvuas of Pikadon, it'll apply Mipi Atzmo and Mipi Acherim. You're also going to learn from Me'ila that just like Me'ila applies only by Shogeg and not by Mezid, therefore by Shvuas of Pikadon, it'll apply by Shogeg and not by Mezid. The Gemara's last question is, if that's true, and we're making Zeret Shava between Eidus and Pikadon, and we're learning from Eidus to Pikadon that it'll work, Mipi Acherim and Mipi Atzmo, why don't we go ahead and take what we learned from Me'ila and apply it to Shuas Eidus and say that Shuas Eidus will apply only by Shogeg and not by Mezid? Says the Gemara, because the Torah went out of its way to say the word V'Nelam by everywhere else except for Shuas Eidus to teach me that you shouldn't make this carryover from Me'ila to Pikadon and from Pikadon to Eidus, and only by Eidus would you say that it's going to be Dafka, that it's going to be Shogeg and Mezid, and therefore again it comes out that Pikadon will learn one thing from Me'ila and it'll learn one thing from Eidus, and at the end of the day, Pikadon will have one aspect of each. It'll have an aspect of Me'ila, where you're going to be Chayav only Shogeg and not Mezid, and it'll have an aspect of Eidus, where you're going to be Chayav from Mipi Acherim and Mipi Atzmo.